sacred number of God in Egypt under Alexander the Great's period, connections to Amphipolis tomb in northern Greece, and what his architect used as sacred numbers in various construction during the period he was working under Alexander the Great. Hopefully you'll enjoy this because they are a little bit historic and recent findings. In continuation for the concerning the Amphipolis tomb, I think it's important that we dwell in the numerology of the value of the diameter of the Amphipolis tomb, the size of the Amphipolis lion statue, and how these values are connected with the building of the ancient city of Alexandria in Egypt, the city that was built for Alexander the Great. The architect of these three locations, these three projects, was a very famous architect from Rhodes called Dinokratos. The city of Alexandria the Great was built in 331 BC, and the Greek historian Plutarch wrote about that. Now we see that specifically the lion that was found on top of the Amphipolis tomb, in the center of the Amphipolis tomb, the size of the lion itself is 5.3 meters high. Together with the base that supported the statue, the height of the lion and the base was 15.84 meters high. So the number is 1584. Let's keep that in mind, 1584. So that's the height of the Amphipolis lion that stood on top of the Amphipolis tomb. The second matter that we go into is the perimeter of the, now let's go into the diameter of the Amphipolis tomb. The diameter is the cross section. If we cut it, if we measure it from one point to the opposite point of the circle of the tomb, it is 158.4 meters. 158.4 meters, the diameter of the Amphipolis tomb. And if we go to the city of Alexandria of Egypt, the city of Alexandria of Egypt has a perimeter of 18.84 kilometers. So going all around the circumference, the perimeter of the ancient city of Alexandria of Egypt, not as it is today, but as it was then when it was built, is 18.84 kilometers. There's this number 1584. Now, when I went to research on the various projects that the architect of Alexander the Great, Dinokratus, was involved in, I found, and I will leave links below for you for these items that we're talking about now. He used, there was one city that he did, one project that he did with, that was 1,260 meters from the city of Alexandria, Egypt. That was 7 stadiums. So his stadium, the stadium for Dinokratus, was 180 meters. This was a little bit different from the stadium length used at that time, which was about 185 meters, a little bit less than 185. The ancient stadium meters used at that time had to do with the circumference of the earth. They were working in the fragments of 60s, like 1/60th and 1/60th or 1/60th of the circumference of the earth was a stadium. But he used the number 180 meters, not 184 meters, 185 meters. So the stadium length that Dinokratus, the architect of Alexander the Great, used was 180 meters. Okay? So if we divide the number 15840 by 180 meters, we get 88 stadiums. So that's exactly 88, the number 88. Let's remember, though, that in those ancient times, let's remember that Alexander the Great, many times before his battles or an endeavor of conquest or something, some significant aspect of his career, Alexander the Great would always offer sacrifice to the gods. And before doing this, he would take a bath, a ritual religious bath to cleanse himself. So he was a very faithful man. He kept his link to the gods very clean and very strong. It was a very important matter to him that he had the help of the gods on his side before endeavoring anything new. So it's significant that we see the number 88, or the number 8. The number 8 used in the building and the projects by the architect of Alexander the Great. Now, the number 88 is significant because it has a special meaning. In that, for example, in the Holy Bible, which was the Old Testament at that time, the number 88 represents, and I will leave a link below, it represents a new beginning, meaning a new order or creation. And I quote this: a man's true born-again event when he's resurrected from the dead into eternal life. It's very interesting. Boys were circumcised on the 8th day. The number 8 symbolized circumcision of the heart through Christ and the receiving of the Holy Spirit, Romans 28:29. After the 7 weeks of the spring harvest, the next day, the 50th day, is Pentecost. This day is also the 8th day of the 7th week. The number 8 New Testament was penned by only 8 men: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, James, Peter, Jude, and Paul. The most joyous feast period of the year is the 8th day period of the fall feast of tabernacles, followed immediately after by the last great day. Abraham, the father of all the faithful, had 8 sons in total. They were Ishmael, Isaac, Simram, Joksham, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shuha. Let's go. We had night watchers and day watchers, first watch, second watch, third watch, fourth watch of the night. and the day watchers first, second, third, and fourth watch. It was the day watch was split into 8 sections of 3 hours each. And 8. How is the number 8 related to Jesus' resurrection? Jesus showed himself alive 8 times after his resurrection from the dead. His first appearance alive was to Mary Magdalene. Then he shows himself to the two traveling disciples to Emmaus, St. Luke and St. Cleopas. Next, he appeared to the disciples. A week later, when Thomas was present. According to Apostle Paul, Christ also was seen by 500 believers at one time. Jesus also met his disciples at the appointed place in Galilee and on Galilee's shores. And his final meeting was on the Mount of Olives, where he gave his followers instructions before his ascension to heaven. And additional information of the biblical meaning of 8. God saved 8 people on the ark in order to have a new beginning for mankind after the flood, since the meaning of 4 is derived from God's creation of everything. 8 is 4 plus 4, pictures a new creation after the flood. 8 is the number of Jesus, whose name in Greek adds up to 888. So here we have a very interesting, significant number hiding the number 8. The number 15840 divided by 180 meter stadium, the Vinocratus stadium measurement, is 88 for the city of Alexandria, and it's also 8.8 for the diameter of the Amphipolis tomb. I wonder if this points to the fact that the tomb may actually have a very strong connection to Alexander the Great himself. I'll leave links below for you so you can see this. Concerning the Amphipolis tomb, we are aware that at the septal walls separating the chambers, there were small holes found at the top near the roof of each separation wall. This was due to the fact that during the First World War, when in northern Greece the British Army was stationed, there were amateur archaeologists who found the tomb and entered into it and tried to invade it and plunder it. They did find certain items of ancient value, usually ancient, most of them were ancient gold and silver items having to do with jewelry and death masks. Here they're holding skeletons, craniums of ancient Greeks found in the area, in the tombs of the area. These are British soldiers of 1914. That is when the lion of the Amphipolis tomb was found. This lion is a 5.3 meter height marble statue. It was positioned in the center of the top of the tomb of Amphipolis. The lion symbolized royalty. They tried to take it down into pieces, cut it into pieces, and ship it to Britain, to England, but they were stopped by the Bulgarians and others of the First World War fighting in the area. So this was found on top of the Amphipolis tomb, right in the center on the top. So here is a reminder of one of the septal walls. We see here on the left-hand side a hole that was made. It was most probably made by the British Army amateur archaeologists who tried to see if they could plunder this tomb. It was impossible for them to do so because the chambers were filled with soil. And these were the items taken and by these amateur British archaeologists to the British Museum. This is photo credit to the trustees of the British Museum. And here we see one of the English amateur archaeologists entering the tomb of Amphipolis. As we said, they were the ones who made the small holes in the septal walls which divided the chambers. We have now, today is the 14th of October 2014, and we were told by the archaeologists at the site that there is a fourth chamber which has stairs leading down towards its left-hand side. This is, again, this chamber has a smaller opening, about 15 centimeters, slit. Obviously, these amateur British archaeologists saw that it was not possible for them to plunder the tomb, so they just left it. They were stopped by the war of that was going on in that area at that time. So they were the ones who made the little holes in each septal wall. The architect of the Amphipolis tomb is said to be the architect of Alexander the Great, and that was Dinokratus. He was also the architect of the city of Alexandria, Egypt. He was also the architect of the funeral pyre of Hephaestionus. I will leave a link below. This is a very old picture of what the rendering. The Dinokratus wanted to make a statue out of the mountain of Mount Athos in Halkidiki, in the peninsula of Halkidiki in northern Greece. That mountain is 2,000 meters high, and he wanted to carve out a statue of Alexander the Great sitting at it, with one hand holding a city and the other hand having a river flowing from over his hand and nourishing the land of the area, giving life and water, pure water to the area. So this is a rendering. That actually never happened. Mount Athos is now a community of monasteries from the Byzantine era until now. This is what it would have looked like. It would have been a carving, a massive carving of the figure of Alexander the Great. And this is a picture, a drawing of a rendering of the funeral pyre of Hephaestionus. And this is a depiction described on a description, based on the description by Diodorus. This is a painting of the late 19th century depicting the funeral pyre of Hephaestionus, one of Alexander the Great's very beloved friends, and they were very dear friends from their early childhood. Dinokratus was also the architect of the Temple of Artemis, or the Temple of Diana in Ephesus. We know the Temple of Artemis in Ephesus because it was where a lot of the early disciples of Christ had gone to preach and to convert a lot of pagans to Christianity. So this was, again, one of the major architectural works of Dinokratus, Alexander the Great's architect. Now, there's something very strange about the Amphipolis tomb in that I found that, maybe someone else can help us out, but we found that there's a link between the Amphipolis lion that we showed before, the diameter of the Amphipolis tomb, which is 158.4 meters diameter, plus the city of Alexandria in Egypt, which is 15.840 meters in 1/100th of a scale. This was Egypt's main port of import and exports. 80% of the items imported and exported into Egypt. And it was mainly a Greek city with Greek people from various backgrounds. It was also home to the largest urban Jewish community in the ancient world. So this lion of 15.84 meters, the diameter of the Amphipolis tube of 158.40 meters, plus the 15.840 meters in 1/100th scale of the city of Alexandria in Egypt. What does this 1584 stand for? What is this number 1584? If anyone knows, please let us know about it. What is this? What meaning does this have? Obviously, it has to do with Alexander the Great. The tomb of Amphipolis, Alexandria, the city of Alexandria in Egypt, plus the lion, and the number 1584. If anyone knows, please let us know. This is the beautiful surrounding wall of the tomb of Amphipolis. You see it's in excellent condition. Excellent craftsmanship of marble surrounding the tomb. Excellent craftsmanship. This is from the Hellenic Minister of Culture, Greek Ministry of Archaeology and Culture. Again, these are the sphinxes that were found in the first septal wall. The two headless sphinxes. Their heads were not found. Their wings were not found. The two headless sphinxes. And you see that there are carved feathers on the top part of the body of each sphinx. The bottom part is a lion, and the fingernails are very sharp. And you see that the top part of the body of the sphinx is carved with feathers, which would have extended out towards its wings. And the wings and the head, the heads have not been found. I don't even know if there would have been enough room for the heads to be there. Again, this is another picture, a close-up of the Sphinx of the Amphipolis tomb, found at outside of the first chamber, and you can see the details of the wings above the forearms of the forelegs of the Sphinx. And these pictures of the Amphipolis tomb are courtesy of the site of the Hellenic Ministry of Culture, the archaeology department. And I'll leave links for you to see them on your own. Very interesting. Beautiful work. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Capota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.